FlossTubers, I'm so excited you're here. I have a ton of stuff to show you this week. I'm super excited. We might go a little bit longer than an hour, so bear with me because I have so much stuff. So we are on week 3 of Quilter's Cottage Stitch Along, week 4. And this is the pattern by Lori Holt. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get started and showing you the stitches stuff. So this week I'm gonna show you 2 different things. I'm gonna show you the sewing method and stitching in hand. I'm not a pro in either one, but I'm gonna show you what I know. So we are working on block 2, and again, what I do is I always do my lighter fabric, my lighter threads first. So I've got all my white done. And then next week when we start, next week we're going to be doing block 3, so I'll have my white done next week also. So when you stitch in hand, when you sew, the sewing method. So I'm going to go ahead and get set how I'm going to do this. And then Lily's going to zoom in, and then I'm going to tell you. So the sewing method basically means that you don't ever have to put your hand behind the fabric, so that you can just always stay on the front. And what I found when testing this is it works well when you do like a straight horizontal or vertical line rather than small stitches. Now some people do this method all the time, and that's great. I haven't been able to master that yet. So by doing this, if you want to do the sewing method and you want to have it in your Q-snap, you just loosen your Q-snap. So I've loosened it, and I've got a little bit of give there, a little bit more give. And you can use like a finger on the back to guide your needle a little bit, but you just always stay on the front. And this does save time. I just haven't been able to really master it unless I'm going in a straight line. And I've got a longer thread today, and the reason why is because I'm going to be going all the way around the edge. So I wanted to change thread a little bit less. So you can kind of get in a rhythm doing this. It's harder to do when you're filming. Looks super easy, but whenever the cameras come on, I seem to I'm going to just cut this down a little bit so I can go faster just to show you, but
can zoom in more. Yes, I can zoom in more.
But again, the sewing method is just keeping the needle all the way on the front at all times.
Could you do it like in slow motion almost, like step by step what you're doing?
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping this middle finger in the back. I am putting my Q-snap, framed thing on the table so that I have something to stabilize it. And I'm just going through the first stitch and then the second. So I'm just pulling it like that through. And you can get in a rhythm when you do this. You just want to make sure if you're doing the rest of it and you're not doing the sewing method that you have the same, I guess, tension. So here you can actually go up.
Lori says, good morning, Stitchers.
Good morning, Lori Holt. So this is Lori Holt's design. And as I go, I kind of pull down to keep everything straight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go the other way. So I'm going to loosen this side.
Do you know what color of nail polish you're wearing?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't.
We'll look it up after, guys.
I'm just going to go back to wearing my normal color so that y'all know what that is. So this is just sewing. This is the sewing method. And like I said, this is something that I would do. Now, one thing I will say is when I go back and finish the final X, I will not use the sewing method because you're going through a lot of layers and I'm just not comfortable doing that. Everything is personal preference in stitching, so you do what works for you. But this is a time saver. It's just and if I wasn't on camera, I would be going really fast. But when you're on camera, you have to put something a certain place to show it, so you're not like in the most natural position. So that's why whether you're watching me or someone else, it's never going to be as fast, but I could do this a lot faster. So do y'all have any questions on the sewing method before I move on?
I haven't seen any come up.
Okay. So now we can zoom back out.
Okay.
And then one question that we get a lot is stitching in hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my work out of my Q-snap. And I'm going to show you what stitching in hand is. Oh, sorry. So I'm going to just turn, and then that way Lily can zoom in.
Yes. I might need you to scoot to your right a little bit. Okay, we should be good here. I'll let you know if we need to adjust more later.
Okay. So I'm actually going to put a pillow in my lap real quick to help me. Sorry.
Well, it looks like I missed a question from Deb. Let me find it. So Deb Glassiter says, I have tried that stitch and it always looks different from my other stitches. What am I doing wrong?
I agree. I don't ever think it looks, when you do the sewing method, you just have to really practice. But I think that if you did the bottom layer as the stitch, as the sewing method, and then the top stitch you just did normal, I think it'll come out looking okay. I just think it's one of those things that you have to practice, but I agree with that statement. And some people will do their entire piece with the sewing method. I haven't been able to master that yet. So stitching in hand works really well when you have a very stiff fabric. We're working with Ada today, but it's a nice and soft feel, so it's a little bit harder. But what stitching in hand is on the left hand, or wherever you're working, you would just get this kind of tight. And then you can either stitch, this is how I normally stitch, one stitch at a time. This is my normal, this is what I normally do. I don't do this sewing method often. For me, I don't mind if stitching takes me longer. I enjoy it, and I enjoy doing the single stitch at a time. If I have to get a project done, I will do the sewing method, but 99% of the time, or 90% of the time, I just do normal stitches just like I'm doing now. But with stitch in hand, it just means that you're holding on one hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm holding on one hand.
We did have another question. Annette wanted to know, she had trouble with tension on the sewing method.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, okay.
So I agree that that is going to be an issue, and I think that that's why I don't do it a lot. That's why 90% of the time I do one stitch at a time. So like the sewing method, it's a time saver. Some people use it, a lot of people don't, because of the reason that you just stated. So I'm just showing a method in case you want to save time. It is not something that I would normally do. Normally I stitch just like this, which is the way that I taught you guys in the beginning, but I always want to offer different options and just show you different things in case you want to try it. Some people will stitch in hand, some people use Q-snaps, some people do one stitch at a time, some people do the sewing method. You should just do whatever you like the results of best and whatever you enjoy the best. But like, for example, now I'm going back over my stitches. I would never do the sewing method at this point because I have been unable to get my tension correct. I tested it quite a bit and it looked like a hot mess, and so I don't want my work to look like a hot mess. But I agree that when you're doing it, you have to
then we had a few people asking about what railroading was, and we did do a video about it a few weeks ago. I believe it's FlossTube 10.
Yeah, FlossTube 10. So if you want information on railroading, just go to FlossTube 10. It is not something that you could do with, it is not something that you could do with 6 strands. You can only do that if you have 2 strands. So that's kind of my sewing tips for today. If you have any other questions, I think that's going to be great. But what I'm excited to show you today is some finishes and some whips. And so I'm going to be doing this weekly. The reason I haven't been showing you as we go is because we really wanted to get some of the stuff on the Fat Quarter Shop website so that if you had questions, a lot of you say that I have a deer in the headlight look because I don't know the answer to questions. So sometimes I'll hold stuff back so that we have the time to get that on the coming soon page so that when I have the correct stuff for you. So super exciting. So again, Quilter's Cottage, Lori Holt, that's what we're working on. But, oh my gosh, okay, so Farm Girl Fall. This is Lori Holt's second cross stitch pattern.
Give me 1 second. Okay. Good.
So, I got mine framed. So we had talked about this, but I finally got it framed, and I really struggled with the frame selection. And I'm really happy with what I picked.
We're doing some beauty shots here, guys, so you can see all the detail.
So again, you can get this pattern at the Fat Quarter Shop. You can get the thread sets also at the Fat Quarter Shop, and the cloth. The cloth is a vintage Ada cloth by Lori Holt. And the color that we used in this is oatmeal, I think. Yes, oatmeal.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is called Pink Typewriter by Tiny Modernist, and I, of course, didn't do it in pink, which, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that I changed the colors. So I did this over the summer when my daughter was at a dance convention for a full week, and I changed it and did Aqua Cosmo. And so we now have a quilt kit that's going to be available in a little bit.
A quilt kit?
Sorry, cross stitch kit. So we're going to have a cross stitch kit with this. We're just waiting on the thread to arrive. I just used a white Aida 14 count and custom did the colors. And when I made this, I wasn't planning to do a kit. I was just doing it for fun. So this hangs right by my computer in my sewing studio. So super excited about that one.
And then kind of real quick going back to the Quilter's Cottage.
Yes.
Someone was asking if you're using 6 strands.
I'm using 6 strands, yes. I'm using 6 strands of Aura Floss.
Perfect.
So this is a new one that you guys might not have seen. This is called Quaker Pumpkin by the Stitcher Hood. And you can see the colors that she chose are DMC. And she used an orange and a brown, and I love the quilty block look. So of course, I changed it to the Kimberly style. So this is what I changed it to. We have a cross stitch kit for this. We used 3 colors, so we did a different color for the stem and the vine. And of course we used a great orange, and these are Aura Floss. And we will have a cross stitch kit for this coming up. And any of these that you're looking at, we should have information on the Fat Quarter Shop website. And so what you can see, what we're doing is we're trying to come up with things that just change them up just a little bit, make them fun, make them a little bit Kimberly-ish. So there's that one. And then this one, guys, super excited. I know you guys have seen this one. This is Be Joyful. And this is by Country Cottage Needleworks by Nikki Lehman. And we've had this kit for a while. It's been very, very, very popular. And you can kind of look at the colors she chose. And then I picked these colors. So we've got pinks and greens, and they're a little bit more vibrant. And we have this kit, and I got this framed, so I'm super excited to show you guys how it looks framed. I used the frame recommended on the back of her pattern. So all that information is on the back of the pattern, and our kit uses Cosmo.
If you could just hold it up for 1 second. Perfect.
And you'll notice that I also have glass on all of my pieces. Let's put everything back before I keep going. Oh, I want to show this one. This is Lori's. So this is hers that's completed, and she did not use glass. So it's all personal preference. And we have a link to this frame below. This is just a standard 11 by 16 inch frame. And she did hers on the same way I'm doing mine, which is on burlap and Aura Floss 6 strands. So, and a couple other things that are finished. Okay, one more finished thing before I show whips.
Oh, Lori says she loves the pumpkin.
Oh, thank you. I made it at your house. Some of that was stitched at Lori's house. So I did it in 2 days. This whole thing was done in 2 days, which, cool. So Vintage Christmas Sampler is Lori's 3rd pattern. And so you guys have seen this, but I want to show you something else that I did. So I'll show you right after Lily zooms in. So Lori got me this beautiful frame, and I had it framed. But it just made me so nervous to not have glass. So now I have glass. I was just too OCD and had to go get it changed. So it looks, you know, maybe a little bit different because I added glass, but I just really had to. That was just something I had to do.
So cute.
Okay, and I'm going to show you guys this one last time because it needs to go to home. So this is Happy Farm Girl. This is Lori's first pattern. And this is the pillow that Shelby made. And she wants to take it home. So I just wanted to show you guys one last time before it goes to its home. And this is, we made this on burlap and we used our floss. Oh, sorry. Shelby used DMC four strands on this. But you can also do it in our floss 6 strands. Totally up to you. But she wants to take it home, so this is the last time we're going to be able to see it, and it won't be in my office for me to look at anymore. So there's that. Okay. Now we've got some other stuff. So again, this is Country Cottage Needleworks Be Thankful pattern. And so she has DMC listed and she has Classic Color Works and Weeks Dye Works. Those are both hand dyed. That's what she lists. But I had to change it a little bit. And this is how it looks on Lori Holt's burlap and Aurifloss. So I finished this yesterday. So this will be a kit, and I will show it to you guys once I get it framed. I just finished it, so I leave it in my Q-snap until I get it framed.
Also, Piggy is not part of the cross stitching, guys.
Oh, sorry.
It just, from my perspective, it looked like
Piggy.
he blended in.
So I'll take Piggy off. This is my little Piggy. Here he goes. This is Be Thankful. So we kept we kept the feel of her thread and just kind of made it our own, and so we're gonna have kits for this soon also. So that I'm very excited about. I really love it. It's gonna be I'm gonna make it kind of a frame that's really big and chunky and make it more of a sign rather than a, you know, sometimes you have cross stitch pieces that are just like little and dainty. This is gonna be more like a sign. It's gonna be awesome in my house. Okay, so I got lots of other stuff that I'm working on, so hopefully I won't forget any. I made these. Oh wait, let me find the patterns first. Okay, Country Cottage Needleworks has patterns. They're called Cottage of the Month. They came out quite a few years ago, but I still love them. There's 12 of them, and we have all the patterns online. And what I did was I'm making these, and I'm using lamb's wool, Ada, and we will have that in stock soon. And I used the exact colors that she recommended, and I'm gonna frame these in the frame she recommended. So I didn't make any changes to these at all. We don't have kits, but we will have the fabric you can buy soon, and the DMC is listed on our site. So any of the patterns, we always list the DMC that the author recommends. So this is February. And I started March. This is, I'll take Piggy off. But Piggy's not part of it, so ignore that. But this is my March, and these I have in Q-snaps that are 6-inch square. So those I've been working on. I started these in December, so I am going to do all 12, and my goal is to be done this year. But I'm getting the frames soon, and once I frame them, I'll show you how that looks. We also have a new kit that just went live yesterday. This is how the kit comes packaged. I want to just show you. This is the pattern. It's called Quaker Heart by the Stitcher Hood. And in it, you get Lori's Daisy 10 count Ada, and you get your Aurifloss in a pretty little container so that you have somewhere to keep it. And of course we picked our own RF floss to go with it because we like to be awesome like that. So we keep Shelby's making this and we keep it in a cute little stitchy bag. And I'm going to show it to you. We are going to frame this and do a little video tutorial on how to use sticky board.
Ooh.
She did a wonderful job on this, so I'm going to show you the front and the back. It is amazing.
Perfect.
And look at the amazing back. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
She did it.
On that.
Yeah, she did an
Sorry,
amazing job.
Okay.
I can hear Denise saying she doesn't want me to show her back. So that's that. Okay. I'm going to show you some other stuff now. This is a pattern by Hands On Design, and Priscilla Blaine is the designer. She is from the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch with Priscilla and Chelsea, and they have a YouTube channel. So this is her wonderful pattern. We picked Witchell Premium Aida Chalkboard Black fabric, 14 count Aida, and I'm making it. So this is how far I have gotten. I am using the DMC that is listed in the pattern, so I'm not making any color changes. And this is how it looks on the Beekeeper, which is a Lori Holt Notion. So I just have everything.
Hang on, let me get a close-up of that home a little better. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I started laughing at the big piggy.
What big piggy?
The big piggy?
Oh, okay, I'll take the big piggy off.
No,
Okay, so the big
good.
piggy is a gift from Lori Holt, so thank you. She got it for me on Etsy, and it's my little piggy.
It was just so funny.
And you guys are probably not like, Piggy's my little baby dog. He's my little baby.
Okay, we're good.
So, so it's beautiful, and I am using just 2 strands of DMC. I'm using the thread that is suggested. And what I did was on the Beekeeper, it looks a little bit like a mess, but that's okay. I'm a mess sometimes.
Oh.
What I did was I took out my DMC, I made it the measurement that I want, and I cut it. So when I pull this off to stitch with it, it's already pre-cut. So I've already done that pre-work, and that is a time saver so that you don't have to cut every single time you need a new one. So I think that's a great thing that I'm going to be doing. I have a couple other things. So we now have Priscilla's brand new pattern called Carrots and Cottontail Farm. It arrived yesterday. It's a brand new, hot off the press. Just arrived last night.
Priscilla and Chelsea say, so excited you are stitching Rose Cottage. Love seeing all the finishes.
Thank you. So we're like eager beavers here, and we loaded this at like 6:30 last night, and then Denise went to since we don't have our DMC yet, we're waiting on it, went and got the DMC already, and she already started it. So we've got it already on the Floss Flowers by Lori. And she also has Piggy on her little thing. Sorry, we gotta take the piggies off.
We need to count
Piggy,
how many
Piggy.
times Piggy pops up in this video
Piggy.
without actually being here.
Yes, and so this is how far Denise got last night, and we're using the same,
It's upside down, I think.
I'm sorry. We're using the same chalkboard black package of Witchell, or Witchell, I'm not sure how you say it. So this is Cottontail Farm, and there are going to be pins from Just Another Button Company that are arriving any day, and also the Needle Nannies, which are similar to my piggies, but there's a Hippity Hop and Cottontail's Farm. So I'm going to try to hold these, and we're going to try to zoom in, and we have these online also. These are by Quilt Dots. So these go along, so if you're stitching, we can go ahead and put those on here instead of Piggy, but you know Piggy. Gotta love Piggy. Okay, so I've got 2 more whips to show you, and then I have a ton of questions. I'm gonna try to cover everything. So this is Denise's version of Quilter's Cottage. And I want you to look at it up close because she is doing ombre letters and she is using 6 strands of DMC. So for all of you guys asking if you need to use 4 or 6, total personal preference, this is how it looks with 6 and it looks amazing. And I love the ombre letters. And then this is a Country Cottage Needleworks pattern called Red, White, and Bloom by Nikki Lehman. It came out in 2011. And for us, we're just going and finding stuff that inspires us and that we like, and we are kitting it up. And we put it together with some Aura Floss. So we put our Aura Floss in here as we stitch. And this is how it's starting to look. We're going to have a kit for this. But this is the top, and it looks amazing. And Denise is the one that's making it. And of course, Piggy is on there. And I'm going to show her back. She doesn't want me to. It looks amazing.
Ooh, it does.
It looks amazing.
This is a slow zoom out here. Okay.
Oh god.
So that is like all the things that we're working on behind the scenes. We're really trying to bring some stuff to you guys that you guys will love. I want to announce this week's winner of our hashtag Quilter's Cottage Stitch Along, AJ Jackson on Instagram, and we have already notified her of her winners, a gift certificate, so that's totally exciting. I'm going to go ahead and go through some questions that I have so that I can kind of address those before we get into all the other questions. Corey Ratola said, how can you get 6 strands to look neater? The bottom stitch looks great, but the thread on the top seems to separate, doesn't look like a defined X. So, what I would say, my tip would be, as you go, just make your stitches, make your thread straight. But I want you to look at my stitches up close. They are not perfect, but they look good. It's not gonna look, let me grab something. So if you look at, I'm going to put these right next to each other if I can. On the right, this is 14 count 2 strands. On the left is 6 strands Aura Floss. They just look different. I love both looks. They're not going to look the same because they have a different number of strands. But I think that it will look a little chunky. This one will. And I think that's totally fine. That's the look. And on this one that I'm doing, I am doing the railroad technique. So I'm going 1 stitch at a time. I'm railroading. This took me 8 hours. I timed it. I'm super slow. And I'm okay with that. I think somebody else could have done that. Probably in 2. But I'm super slow. Carol Hardwick Gore, how to put a hoop down near the bottom of design, not enough fabric to get a good wrap. Okay, so I have that covered, sorry. Oh no, we have a mess, I'm really sorry, we just have so much stuff. So, one thing that you can do, okay, if you look at the here and here, when you put this on, you know, you almost get, I don't ever want my snap to go on my stitches, so I kind of move it to the back and then put this one on and just twist it. And if you need to, you can just put them on the back, kind of like to where you don't even see it. You just put it all the way to the back. And then if you get bigger, you just go to a bigger Q-snap. I will not put my Q-snap right on top of my stitches. Some people will. Again, total personal preference, but I mean, just kind of play with your little snaps. Danya Monk Badia, I'm hooked on FlossTube. How do you determine where to start on a pattern that are fabric with more stitches per inch? So when I'm starting a project, I do start in the very center, and your patterns will show you patterns will show you, I don't want to give away her design, but there's little arrows. So you can quickly find the center of your design. I start in the center. If not, you might want to just, count how many stitches you have across, look at the stitch count listed on your pattern, calculate where, and just really take your time. Maybe write it out on a piece of paper, just kind of quickly think it out, because you don't want to, if you're going to start in the top left, for example, you don't want to start here and then get all the way to the end and have no fabric. So I think really just writing out how many stitches you have across on your fabric, what is your stitch count of your pattern, and decide where to start. But I always start in the center. Paula McCluskey. I saw 4 cross-stitch patterns from JK Fabrics and I love them. Do you have them? Okay, I want you to email me that info because I haven't found that yet, and I will look over her patterns and see what we think. We have some people asking about the Aqua book stand. So, here we go. This is Lori's brand new book stand. It is called Bee's Knees Book Stand. It is now on our coming soon page. You can use it for her books that are spiral bound and that will open flat, or to display her beautiful cross stitch. It comes in one color, which is aqua. It's called Bee's Knees Book Stand, and it will be available in April. And this is the back, so you can make it sit up. So that is brand new. We were trying to keep it a secret, but it will be coming in May. Cheryl Humphreys, do you do all the white in the stitches, all the white in the quilts without tying off? So do you want to zoom in a little bit, Lily?
Yeah.
So I generally will just do like the white here, the white here, the white here, and the white here. Of course you can pull over. I would definitely pull over, but I usually, when I did this, I had about enough for one little section. I would not carry my thread over from here to here, but from here to here I would. So I just do all the white, then I did the gray, then now I'm going to fill in the other colors. That's a personal preference. I've watched other floss tubers who don't do that, so I just prefer to do the white first. Suzette Gladden Almos. How do you take the stitches out without stretching the holes? We did that on a previous floss tube in our beginner series, and it was probably video 2 or 3. So
it would be FlossTube number 9 or number 10. Yes.
Okay, so FlossTube 9 or 10 on the Factor Shop channel. Mindy Olson Vanderstein, is there an update on the oatmeal cloth? So the oatmeal cloth this is how it looks. It is a Lori Holt cloth. 10 count vintage Ada. It will be available in April. It has not shipped from Germany yet because I checked on that yesterday, so it's still in Germany. Debbie Casimir, what is the magnetic needle holder you use? I think I need one. So these are the kind you can buy. They're quilt dots. We have lots of different designs. We have like Priscilla and Chelsea, Lori Holt, Fig Tree. They are called needle nannies. And what they are, they're very strong magnets. This is a magnet, and this is a magnet, and watch. It is really strong, like it will fly. And then I have made, oh, Piggy wanted to go with that one. So Denise made these for me. They are Piggy. They are buttons that I had made at Just Another Button Company. And they also are magnets. We're going to do a video on how to make them in the future. But also, if you want one, we sell them. They're called needle nannies.
I'll pose a question about those after you're done.
Brenda Polly, is there any way to fix a mistake you see after you have stitched a lot around it? Long after I finished a fence post, I noticed I had went across 2 squares with one of my stitches in the middle. How would I rip it out? So what I would do is I would cut the stitch and just rip out until I had enough of a tail to dig back under. Dig that back under and start over. I always correct my stitches unless it's like something like if I added an extra stitch that nobody would know, but if I had gone over 2 stitches, I would just cut it, pull it out, go back under. Jackie Langfield, do you remember, oh, Kimberly, do you remember your first cross stitch pattern was, and do you have it? Yes and yes. So there was a lady named Severine Lackey. She was friends with my mom, and she taught me how to cross stitch, and it was in the 80s because I'm old, and it was a half cross stitch and it was a frog, and I made it, and my dad had it on his desk forever. And it is still in my parents' attic somewhere, and I will find it one day, but it is it was a frog and he had it on his desk forever. Debbie Block Though, I'm confused on how to stitch a vertical row as the outline on the quilt blocks. So on here I kind of went over it, but you just go up, you just stitch up, and then you can stitch down. Susie Joe, I'm using the 11-inch Q-snap, but I can tell it's going to be bigger. Do you switch to a bigger Q-snap as it goes? Yes. So what I will do, I will keep the Q-snap at 11 by 11 until I get about right here. And then I will switch to an 11 by 17 once I start up here. Because again, I don't like my Q-snap to go on top of my work. Elise Roja Vega, how many strands of floss do you use in a pattern if it doesn't say? So if you go to FQS FlossTube number 10, we go over the standard, what you should use based on your Aida or linen count. So also one thing I wanted to go over is kind of one thing that I see in the stitching community is I think that everything is really a give and take. I see a lot of maybe judgment that maybe not need to be there. So like one thing that I want to talk about is like you can do whatever you want. You can do expensive fabric, you can do expensive floss, you can do expensive framing, or you can do less. You can like do whatever you want, and you shouldn't judge someone else for what they want to do. It's totally your thing. So my thing is, like when I think about mine, I totally don't, I use cheap Aida, or, you know what I mean, I don't use like linen or even weave that's like $30 a yard. I just use less expensive Aida. I love Aida. I use DMC, Cosmo, or R floss. I never use hand-dyed. Hand-dyed is beautiful. I just don't do it. But then I spend a lot of money on my framing. So it's really just a give and take. You can use whatever you want. Like, you should not feel bad if you're using DMC and someone is using hand-dyed. You should not feel bad if you are using Aida and somebody else is using $30 a yard fabric. You should do you, and you should do whatever you want to do. And don't let anybody else tell you what is good or not, because just like in quilting, do whatever you want to do. If you want to use Joann fabric, use Joann fabric. Do whatever you want to do. Have fun. Just like I was talking about with the sewing method. I don't do the sewing method. It's okay. I took 8 hours to do this on a Sunday. Kevin was like, does your hand hurt? That's okay. I like the way that my work looks, and I'm okay with one stitch at a time, railroading. I'm okay with that. You do you however you want to do. Like, I'm not judging you. Don't judge anybody else. I think that we should all just be lifting each other up. Like when I went to school, when I was taking my boys to school today, one of my boys was telling, okay, I'm just going to tell the whole story. So this is just an example of how I think. Christopher was telling Peyton, because Peyton had in his hand, he's going to do a presentation at school. And so he had gone over his work, and he had written himself some notes so that when he stood up, he would have his notes. And Christopher said to him, your handwriting is messy. It needs to look better. And I said, boys, we are brothers. We should love each other, and we should lift each other up, and we should focus on what we love about each other and what is good instead of what is bad. And so I teach that to my kids and to other people. Women should be supportive of other women, and we should all just love each other and have fun. Whatever you want to do. So like if you go to a stitching retreat and everybody has hand-dyed floss that costs $30, great. Be happy for them. If you don't like that look, do what you want to do. So that's kind of my thing. I'm going to say a couple things before I take questions, because if I don't, I'm going to forget. So, oops, I got all excited.
We got excited.
Next week we're going to be doing block 3. So you can get ready for that. I would love for you guys to subscribe to Fat Quarter Shop's channel. I would love for you to click the little bell that gets notifications when I come on. And I would love for you guys to comment. I would love to see your hashtags of Quilter's Cottage Stitch Along. We obviously have a winner every week on this sew along. Subscribe and thumbs up. Now I'm going to take all your questions and hopefully I'm able to answer them. Right. Sometimes you'll ask me stuff and I don't know the answers.
Cool. And I think the easiest way, we're going to go in backwards order, so like the most recent questions will get asked first.
And also we're going to be getting new microphones so that you guys can hear Lily better.
You guys asked, so we're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're just waiting for the order to come.
First of all, we got lots of people supporting you. Gabriel Fuentes said, preach, we are at the church of Kimberly.
I'm gonna write, I mean really, one day I'm gonna write a motivational book. I'm not kidding, because I could get up and I could be Tony Robbins and tell people all about it, because there's no reason to be hateful. And like my daughter, I don't even want to go on and on, but yes, no. And that's why, like in my Kimberly Stitch Squad on Facebook, some people were being ugly the other day, and I just put, I'm going to delete all these negative comments. We are here to lift each other up and share things. We are not here to tell people how to start the fabric. We are here to be positive and supportive, and whatever people want to do, let them do it. It's their house. This is also what I tell my mom. I know my mom is watching. Sometimes my mom will tell me something about somebody else. I'm not going to say who. And I'll just be like, Mom, who cares? That is their house. That is behind their doors. Let them live their life. Who cares? That's their life. Let them live it. Don't tell me how to live mine. Stay in your own little house.
Lori says, I totally agree with Kimberly. Do what makes you happy and makes your stitching stress-free. And then Pam on YouTube is asking, on the quarter pumpkin, would you travel the thread since the stitches are so close?
Okay, let me look at what I did. Sorry. Oh.
That's fine.
I did exactly what Shelby did. This is what I did. I did travel, because I can tell. So I did travel. No, I didn't. I did the star. I did this as a single stitch, and I did this as single. I did not travel. And I, in one of my FlossTube videos, show how you can do a single stitch, and Gabriel luckily linked that for somebody that had a question on the group. So I did not travel. And if you look on the back of Shelby's beautiful work in her little stitchy bag, she did not travel either. This is very similar, but again, do whatever you want to do. If you want to travel, you travel. If you notice in my work, I'm a very OCD, so I do things slower, and I'm okay with that. And some people don't, and I'm okay with that.
And upon Rachel's request, she's right. She's like, Kimberly deserves a confetti cannon.
Yay!
That was perfect. That was very well timed. Okay. And then what size cloth did you stitch the cottages on?
Cottage of the month.
Oh, Cottage of the month. 14 count, I believe. Yes, 14 count, and it is called lamb's wool. That's the color. We are buying it pre-packaged. We're just waiting for it to arrive, and it is beautiful. And I can't wait to have them up in my house. I'm going to frame them individually. I have seen a lot of people did the cottages where they did them all like either 4x3 or 3x4 where they're all together and did like a big frame. But I'm just going to do single frames. I'm very excited to have it. My kids actually really have liked it and have asked, like, oh, could that go in my room? It's actually, my boys really like it. I'm surprised, but I'm really excited about it.
All right. And, oh, to clarify, that question was from Debbie. She says, I'm asking about the Country Cottage Needleworks cottages.
Yes.
Those, okay.
Yes. So perfect. This right here, I'm doing on 14 count lamb's wool. And it's Ada. I always use Ada because I wear bifocals and I can't see. So that's just the truth.
And how do we join Stitch Squad?
Okay, so Kimberly Stitch Squad is on Facebook, and it's a group where you can share all of your stitchy. It can be crochet, it could be quilting, which is what most people do. It can be cross stitch. It can be whatever your craft is. And there's no drama. If you're drama, I'm gonna kick you out. I ain't got time for that. Sorry, I'm on fire today.
And the Bee's Knees book stand, would it be great for holding cookbooks, do you
Yes.
think?
Oh yeah, totally. So I can show. Will you hand me one of Lori's books from down there? Sorry. I'll show you how it looks for books. So Lori's books that we publish are, we make them on nice, really big spiral, and the reason we do that is so that you can put your stuff flat. So it is meant first to hold her quilt books, and you can see that it,
It sits very well.
yeah, it sits very well. So I'll kind of move everything out of the way. I have a mess going on here, and we're okay with that.
Yes.
That is how it looks. And so if you're stitching, you can just turn your page and it sits right there, and you can just put it on your sewing table or your cutting table, and then you have one less thing. I think it's really good for when you're cutting, because a lot of times your stuff is flat and you're trying to cut, so it'll be out of your way. And I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited that Lori let us do that with her. Lori has lots of options, and so we're always happy when she chooses us.
Yes. Okay. And then somebody was asking, do you have a cross stitch pattern that's a sewing machine? And then Lori says she's actually working on it.
Lori will work on it, so we will get it from Lori. Lori is working right now. We're working on her next book, and I get to spend time with Lori in like 7 days, because she's coming with me to Nashville's Quilt Market. She hates Cross Stitch Market. Sorry, all crafty. We're gonna go to Cross Stitch Market, and I haven't even told her yet, but we have a full day. We're gonna go to Draper James. We're gonna go to Craft South. We're gonna go eat barbecue at Eddie's something, and we are going thrifting. So we might try to get some videos of her, see if she'll go on video with us. But I am gonna do a live stream next week at Cross Stitch Market, and we'll talk more about that. We'll talk more about that next week. But I get to see Lori next week, 8 days.
Yay. Okay. And then, does Lori Holt have plans to make a chalkboard black in 10 count?
Oh, we are in talks. I have already asked her, and she's working on it. Yes.
Yay.
See, Lori.
Okay. And then we had a lot of people asking, can we sell the piggy buttons? And I think our reply to that is like, we're going to show them how to make them. Actually.
Yeah, I'm going to show you how to make them, but the only problem with that is I had these custom-made piggy buttons, and so I would have to convince Cecile at Just Another Button Company to make me more piggies, and if she did, then we could sell them, and me and Denise could make them. So I guess it depends on how many. I just have to convince Cecile to make me more piggies. But then everybody can have a little piggy in their house. It doesn't pee because he's on a thing.
He's on a thing?
He's on a magnet.
Oh.
And he won't pee in your house because he's just a magnet. And he's not the real piggy.
Also, somebody was asking what is a piggy?
Piggy is my little puppy. He's 2 years old. He's my dog. I love him. He is on Instagram at The Piggy Pug. I rarely post, but he does have 10,000 followers.
It makes me, I'm one of those, and it makes me very happy.
Yeah, he's the baby.
And then Sia on YouTube was asking, do the kits have the right count for the bigger holes?
Yes.
Okay. And Lori had said that she bought the frame for the vintage Christmas at Michael's.
Yes, and yes, it is an 8 by 10, and it was bought at Michael's, and we have a link to it on it. Sorry, 11 by 14. I'm getting corrected. Glad that somebody's in here that knows what they're doing, because I don't. It's 11 by 14. We have the link to Amazon if you want to click on it. It's just easier to find that way. But one of the things that Lori's doing that I truly appreciate is we're making the cross stitch patterns. Well, we're publishing for her, but we're making them where they will fit in a standard frame. So this is a standard size frame that she bought. And the great thing about this is she framed it herself, so that you can save money on framing, or if you want to, I'm going to take mine and I'm going to get it mounted and custom framed, but I'm going to use this frame, which is going to save me a lot of money. I will add glass. I add the, I don't know, it's like some kind of special glass. Museum glass. Yes, thank you. Yes. So like I said, it's all like up to you. Like Lori doesn't like glass. I love glass. Do what you do. But we're trying to make it more affordable by letting you have a standard frame. So if you want to frame it at a store, you can save money that way. Or if you want to do it yourself, you can save money that way. Or you can go get it custom framed however you want.
And we had an interesting question from Vicky on Facebook. She says, do they all have to be framed, or can you incorporate them into quilts?
Oh, you can. I don't know about a quilt because you might need interfacing, but like this one, you can do a pillow. We have a tutorial on our blog on how you can turn this one into a pillow. Her Farm Girl Fall is written as a pillow, so you could do pillows. There are YouTubers that you can get inspiration from that finish things, like Priscilla does beautiful finishing. Vonna at the Twisted Stitcher has tutorials on how you can finish. So again, that's what's beautiful about crafting, is you can do whatever inspires you or whatever you want to do. I am not great at finishing. That's not something that I'm the best at, but we're going to be doing tutorials and I'm going to be learning, and so that I can teach you guys.
And then Lisa, one of our YouTube members, says, Kim, can you get yardage of the cream fat quarter bundle that was in the club?
It's sold out.
Oh no.
Sold out 2 days ago, sorry. But next January we'll have more cream.
And then,
because that club will just recycle colors.
And Pat, also one of our YouTube members, was asking, what is the count on the lamb's wool Ada?
14 count Ada.
Okay. And Teresa, she just made a funny comment. She said, haha, my new adjective is Kimberly-ish. Like, that's Kimberly-ish.
That's funny. Yeah. Make it Kimberly.
And then Gianna on YouTube was asking, what is sticky board?
Okay, so sticky board, we are going to stock that at Fat Quarter Shop. It is something that is harder to find these days in craft stores, so that's why we're going to stock it, just because it is very hard to find. And you can mount your cross stitch to it. You can either stick it to the front of the sticky board or the back, and we are going to be doing a tutorial on sticky board with this, and it is going to be an actual YouTube video. Oops. Yeah, so we're going to talk more about it, and we're going to be doing a lot of research before we do that video so that we can talk you through more of the details of that.
And this comment just popped up right now, but Lisa said her Fat Quarter Shop order was just delivered.
Yay! Thank you.
Now. That's awesome. Okay, and then Delinda on Facebook says, when I did my clothesline, the bag and my fabric looks very messy. I think on the Quilter's Cottage.
Okay.
Oh, the back.
The back. The back of your work isn't going to show to the front, and some people care how it looks and some people don't. I care how it looks. If it bothers you, fix it. On the clothesline, though, I think she might mean this. When I did the clothesline, I showed some tips last week. So if you go to FlossTube number 13, I will have tips on that. But you just want to make sure that you do it not too tight on the clothesline. You just want to be kind of gentle. And we did use 6 strands on that clothesline. Oh, and I did want to mention, one thing. I might have already mentioned it, but I'm going to do it again. So on this, I'm using 6 strands of Aura Floss, and some people are using 4 strands of DMC, which is what Lori calls for. But I wanted to show you, Denise did this in 6 strands of DMC. And a lot of people are asking about that, and that's how that looks.
And what cloth is the typewriter stitched on?
14 count white. I bought it at Joann's, and we are stocking. DMC got purchased by the Lion Group in the UK, and that happened last week, and they are going to get us a list of what is discontinued and what is not, and we're probably going to go ahead and kit that in a Wichell, which is slightly more expensive Ada, but it's more available.
And Victoria had been asking on the Quilter's Cottage, what is the small thing above the fence post?
Oh, it's a cobblestone. So this is like the cobblestone, like the cobblestone walkway, like your little path.
Like a walkway, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Holly on Facebook says, I do prefer stitching in hand, but I'm not sure how to maintain tension while back stitching. Any tips?
Yeah, I don't know. I would just kind of maybe on that, if you're stitching in hand, maybe go stitch and don't do the sewing method. Maybe just do stitch at a time and just kind of maybe lay it flat. I have found when I'm doing the sewing method, which is not often, if I stabilize my Q-snap on a table or recliner edge, it helps. But yeah, stitching in hand, you might go to the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch channel, and you could ask them that question, and Chelsea and Priscilla can answer for you because they are the experts in that. Or they are watching, they can just answer on Saturday for you. They post every Saturday, so maybe they can help you. I don't want to give you an answer that is not correct, I guess.
And then Lori, when you showed where you had used the burlap, she said, oh my heck, I totally love that on burlap, the Be Thankful, I think.
Oh yeah, so this is burlap, and this is Lori Holt's cloth, and it is going to be so awesome when I frame it. I might even put a mat on it, because I want it to be just like really big so that I can hang it up in my house. You know, like I want it to be more of like a sign rather than like a piece. I don't know if that even makes sense, if I'm using the right words, but I love it. I think it is amazing. It did take me a long time.
And then, oh, hang on, I already asked that question. Laura on Facebook was asking, what needles are you using? I just started hand embroidery, but on regular woven cottons for a quilt sampler. I am hooked, but struggling with needles that have a large enough eye for 6 strands. 24 count bowhin, or that's what I use, or Lori Holt has tapestry needles that have a range of sizes. So if you want to have like a couple to try, that's a good option because then you can try. And we also have a needle threader. It's within all of this stuff somewhere. I can't show it to you, but it is, we'll link it below. There is a needle threader that Pat Sloan recommended that I have been using that does help. I actually have been doing the 6 strand long enough to where I can just whip that needle in quick. I don't need it, but it does work really well if you need that. And is there a quick way to find cross stitch patterns on your website?
Yes, if you go to the left link bar and you scroll down, there's a cross stitch. You click on that. Within that, you can search. There's a thing at the top for kits, fabric, cloth, accessories. So yes, that's very organized. Everything is there. We're going to be going to cross stitch market so we can carry more things.
Okay. And are all these kits that you've shown something a complete beginner could do?
Yes, they're all easy. I don't like backstitch. So there's like a little bit of backstitch. But I don't like backstitch, I don't like half stitches, I don't like any of that. So I would say the hardest one would be stitching on the black. This would be the hardest. And what I do with that is I use my little pillowcase that I carry around all my stuff in. And if you put the pillowcase in your lap, when you're stitching through black, you can really see your holes better. So that's my tip for black, is always have something white under, and my pillowcase works great for that. I also like to have my pillowcase in my lap in case my jeans are dirty, so that when I put this down it doesn't get dirty. Also, if I am in an airport, which I am a lot, or if I'm at a dance, something, and I want to put this on a table, like say I'm at a coffee shop or something, and I want to stitch, I would put my pillowcase down and then have it here so that if there's any food or anything, this would not get dirty. So that would be my tip. I kind of digress there, but beginner, yes, that's what we're all about. We're all about beginner. Easy. The 10 count from Lori is great for beginners because the holes are bigger.
And Lydia on Facebook was asking, how many projects do you have going at a time?
Oh, right now I'm doing Quilter's Cottage. I'm doing my March Cottage. I'm doing the Rose Cottage. So right now I have 3. I will have up to 5 over 5 might just put me over the edge. But in quilting, same thing. I probably have about 6 or 7 in quilting.
Okay. And Gianna on YouTube was saying we need Kimberly Stitch Squad needle minders.
Okay. That would be cute. Yeah, we can do that. We can totally do that. Yeah, Denise will do that today. Yes!
Oh, Denise. And then Cecile on YouTube was asking, is it hard to stitch on the black material, especially at night?
It is. It is not as easy, but you can either put the white under, which works for me, or you can put a light box on your lap. And Lori Holt's light box is very thin, and so if you put that, a lot of people already have that light box because they applique or whatever. If you put a light box down, you can see just like it's white. But I use the pillowcase.
And what thread are you using for the Cottage of the Month pattern?
I'm using the threads that are listed in the pattern, DMC. So I'm using the DMC colors, and we list all of those DMC colors on our website, and we are going to have DMC when they ship that to us. But you know, you can get that at Michael's, Joann's.
And does Lori Holt have a new cross-stitch pattern in the works? Or the Quilter's Cottage is done? After the Quilter's Cottage.
Oh, of course. So we have a Valentine one that we will release probably in a couple of months. She'll probably do an Easter one. Y'all just asked her for a sewing machine one. So she'll just be working on them as soon as she's an artist. So she's working on her book. But when she is in the mood and she draws it out, all she has to do is draw it, send it to us, we'll stitch it up, get it out. So, I mean, we're just kind of going with the flow. As it's, you know, as it's perfected in her mind. She doesn't do anything unless it is exactly what she wants. So I know she has an Easter one drawn, but when she perfects it, we will be right on top of that.
All right, and I'm just going to take a few more questions here since we are running a little over time, and then we'll save the rest for another
Next week.
Lisa was asking, how is your magnet board standing up?
The back. Okay, so this is not a magnet board, it's just a board. It doesn't have a magnet. Well, I guess you could put a magnet. There you go. Can be a magnet board.
Hey.
It has this. Piggy's now on the magnet board. Piggy, piggy, piggy. I could just do like 100 piggies.
Oh, and then Lori had said that she uses a size 20 tapestry needle when stitching on 10 count.
Yes, and that has a bigger eye.
And let's see. Okay. Are there cross-stitch patterns that kids or teens might enjoy, and where would I look for them? And this is from Teresa, who's one of our YouTube members.
I would look on Etsy. I will say that my son likes this one. It's a poop. It's a poop emoji. And he wants me to make it, and I am going to make it at some point. But I bought the thread, and I was like, I'm so uninspired by brown. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff on Etsy. There's a little bit, like I went to Joann's yesterday, there's just a little bit. You know, they don't have as much. They don't have as much as they used to.
Okay. And will there be a cross-stitch monthly club?
Sure. Yes. Soon. Not yet, but yes. Might be quarterly.
Okay.
Might be monthly.
And have you ever finished a cross-stitch pattern like a wall hanging without a frame?
No, I have not. No, I haven't. But yeah, I haven't.
And since you brought it up, Candy Kerr says, I'm having a hard time seeing while stitching. Any helpful hints?
So, my little lights, I don't have them on today because I couldn't find them.
Oh.
They're called little Vivalux. They might be over here. Let me see. I have stuff so everywhere that I, nope, it's not in there. I just honestly have my stuff everywhere today. But I have these little bags. I think oh, here they are. So these are little Vivalux clip-on lights. These are very helpful. They clip on. These help. So this is kind of my little cool get-up. So I do use these, especially at night. My kids are just used to it. They think they just look at me like I'm crazy. So that's what I use. You can use an aught light. You can get you know, any kind of light, reading light.
And then Sewing Becca actually had a comment about the lights. You can replace the batteries.
Oh, okay, great. Yes.
Good to know.
I'm glad that I haven't got that far yet.
Okay, and then the last question I'm going to ask is, Katrina on YouTube said, you have a stand that hooks onto the Q-snaps. Can you show us how it works? I guess we don't have it right now.
Yes, we are sold out, and when we get that back in stock, I will show it. I think it works a lot. It works really well for something small. I know I have a mess going. I'm really sorry. It works really well for small like this, for my March. It works really well for like a 6x6 Q-snap. When you start getting into bigger Q-snaps, it doesn't work as well. So I've had a lot of success with, I've been using it with my cottages of the month. It does not work for like the Be Thankful or the Quilter's Cottage. I don't recommend that, but I might find one at the cross stitch market that would work better for that. So thank you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe. I have enjoyed having today with you. It's a pleasure. I'm happy that you're watching. Remember, support everybody, be positive, and I will see you guys next Wednesday.